This program airs statewide on California Public Television and is a California's Gold classic. This series is endorsed by the California Teachers Association, the California School Boards Association, and the California Library Association. Well, hello everybody, I'm Huell, and here we are in the beautiful little Central Coast community of Lompoc. Now, it's early Saturday morning. It's kind of damp and overcast. The sun hadn't broken through yet, but the spirits in this little town are very bright, and enthusiasm is running high. The good people of Lompoc have invited us to come up here and spend the day with them, because on this day, they're going to produce something that's very colorful and very historic. And when they're through with it, it's going to be a fine example of California's gold. It has to be one of the most beautiful and colorful areas on the entire Central Coast. Since 1907, the Lompoc Valley has been an area where commercial flowers are grown and shipped around the world. In the early years, they grew flowers only for their seeds. Today, they grow cut flowers as well. And the Lompoc Valley is now affectionately known as the Valley of Flowers. The town of Lompoc is situated right by all these flower fields and has a charm all its own. A charm enhanced by its murals. Murals of all shapes and sizes. Some covering whole sides of buildings. Some small enough to be framed. Some are historic, while some are downright whimsical. There's even an art alley where the artwork is changed every few months. These mural projects started back in 1988, and Lompoc is now known as the City of Murals. And it was in this setting that we traveled to Lompoc to watch an ambitious one-day project that combined the area's rich flower history with its murals.
We're always looking to tie in the history and the culture of our valley, because so many young people grow up today and they have no sense of where they came from and how they came to be. And so we're trying to hang on to the history of this incredible valley. And we ran across this beautiful flag over in the Ospani building, and it was hanging on the wall up there, and that triggered the whole idea.
The flag.
The flag did it. It's very
and
patriotic.
The flag, well, you see everybody kind of looking at it now. This flag, explain to us what this flag was.
Okay, this flag was planted in the west end of the valley by the Bodger Seed Company, which is a great seed company that's been here for decades and decades. And out just to the west of the city is a place called Lookout Point. And just below Lookout Point are these magnificent fertile fields where they plant flowers. We'll even see some of those today, I hope. But they planted this flag, which was a huge flag, in 1942, simply as a patriotic gesture to say thank you to our troops fighting World War II everywhere. And it was done strictly for patriotic reasons, not for commercial reasons.
And then there were others planted?
It's my understanding that in subsequent years, up through 1952, there was a total of 4.
And the idea was that you all have now seized upon this flag that was planted first back in 1942 as your subject for this year's mural.
Correct, because it combines the patriotism, the history, and the flower industry for which the valley is so well known.
And the other little wrinkle in this story is that all of this is going to be done in one day.
We hope.
It's called Mural-in-a-Day.
Yes, hopefully at 5 o'clock today we will take the scaffolding down and cut the ribbon and introduce the artists, and it will be done. But the primary thing, and the our master artist has carte blanche rule over this, the primary thing is for it to be a high quality work of art. So if at 5 o'clock it's not done, we have to stay to midnight, we stay to midnight, but it will be a high quality work of art.
And it'll be done in one day.
Yes, yes.
Well, good luck.
Thank you, Huell, thank you.
Well, this is very exciting because we actually have members of the Bodger family here. You've come to Lompoc just for this big day today.
That's right.
Well, tell us a little bit about the family history with this flag and what you remember about it as Mr. Bodger's daughter.
Well, the first flag was planted in '42, so I was just a little girl then, but I don't remember too much about it. But I remember him taking us up on the hill above the flag to overlook the valley and look down on the flag itself. And he was very proud of the fact that it was done.
I was going to say he must have been very, very proud of it.
Yeah, he was. And even though it was windy, we would go up there quite often and look down on it.
Now, was this his idea?
Yes, it was.
And it happened right after Pearl Harbor.
Right, in 1942.
So this must have been a direct, indirect relationship to wanting to do something patriotic after Pearl Harbor.
True, because he wasn't in the service, and this was his way of doing what he could for it.
Well, and we have just been talking about the fact that there were so few pictures of it.
Yes.
You've actually brought us. Now, this is one. Look at this one, Louis. We can go into it. It shows the flag in relationship to the fields.
Correct.
And this one was taken in
1952, the last planting.
So this was one of the later of fields.
Yes, that's correct.
And we have another one here.
This was one of the first ones. I don't know if it was 42 or 43 that he took this one.
Look at this.
But that is one of the original pictures that was taken, so it was probably 1942.
So these are really priceless pictures.
Yes.
Do you have them on your wall at home?
Actually, I have them on the table at home, yes.
So this is something, we'll let you hold this picture. This is something your husband did. It's something that must be a very proud part of your family's history.
Yes, it is.
And here it is today.
Yeah, this is wonderful.
Being immortalized.
Right.
Now I'm standing here with Mr. Hoag, and you brought us, you've done this with your computer, but this was an actual photograph that you took back in 1952.
Correct, yeah. This digital thing's wonderful. This was a slide that we took, and we stood up on the hill. We came down from college, from Whittier College. We came up here for the 4th of July, and that was there, and we enjoyed it, had a big day, and they've done this. I got here just before they did, just after they did this one, and we came up to see this one. It was kind of fun.
Well, how did it feel back in 1952, climbing up that hill and looking out and seeing that? Did it make a big impression on you, or is it just big in hindsight?
No, it made a big impression then too. That was quite a task that they did to put that flowers out there and organize them and make the whole thing. Really a job and a half that they did.
Had you heard about it? Was it big news, or did you just kind of discover it while you were here for July the 4th?
No, well, I had known about it before from living here, and then I came back up, and we came up particularly for that, though.
Oh, really?
A whole bunch of us, about 10 of us came up from college, spent the weekend, and my folks were still here, and so we had a big time and enjoyed the whole thing.
And saw the flag.
And saw the flag, yeah.
And now you're seeing it again on the side of a building.
Right. It's kind of exciting, too, seeing it recreated and all of it done again. I think it's exciting to do this.
Now, this is it right here. Can we hold this up? This is actually what the mural is going to look like. Who came up with the actual drawing itself?
This is my work.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're playing completely off of the historic event that took place here 50 years ago when they grew this flower field.
Right, 1942, I guess. It told me it was planted like 2 weeks after Pearl Harbor, and it took 6 months or however long it takes for it to grow. So it was in 1942 that it actually bloomed.
Well, you've got it all laid out here. You got enough paint?
Fingers crossed, yes.
And do you have enough artistes up there?
We definitely have enough people.
Where did they all come from? Are these all members of the community, or?
I think most of them are local people, but maybe like half a dozen or 5 or 6 are people from different parts of California, whatever, who are just found out about this and are interested and applied.
We've been doing this for a number of years now, and it's very exciting. We watch it all come together from 8 o'clock in the morning, and it actually magically comes together by about 5 o'clock at night. We're all terribly tired by that time, and we have an I can't believe we did it party afterward to celebrate.
Well, I'm hoping you're going to be able to have that one this year, aren't you?
We will. It's all planned for tonight. And these are all professional artists. We know what we're doing, and we're having a lot of fun with it.
And like most murals of this size, it's hard when you're this close to it to get the total perspective of it, isn't it?
Yes, so naturally we take breaks, we go back and we look at our progress through the day, and see how far we've gone, and it's just wonderful to watch it all come to life right before our eyes.
Wow, this is
over
great.
The day.
You're supervising your part of it over.
Flower fields. This is the undercoating.
Uh-huh.
And then later we put other colors over it, lighter colors. As you put more overcoats on it, you get lighter.
See, that's what I guess takes so much time. You've got to do so many different layers.
Primer, you might say.
I got you. And you're working on the
uniforms and
uniform.
putting the darkest lines in first, and I have to repeat pretty much what's already been on there, so it's hard to see where I'm going. But as soon as I get this done, then I'm going to go into warmer browns and some lighter colors.
Now you speak like you know of what you're talking.
I'm an artist.
We're going to leave. We've got other historical research to do.
Okay.
But we will be back this afternoon.
Please do. We'll look forward to you.
Good luck, everybody. We'll see you at 5 o'clock this afternoon. And hopefully everything's going to be finished.
Hopefully.
Good luck. Bye-bye. Well, I certainly had a good time visiting with the artist. But to be honest with you, I could tell they were more interested in painting than in talking with me. They had a deadline to meet. So next, I hooked up with some of the locals who wanted to take me to a location that was directly connected with the flower flags that were grown here over 50 years ago. Just getting there was an adventure, going up an overgrown, windy road. We were heading up, and our destination was historic Lookout Point. Well, here we are. We have driven up to the top of this beautiful, this is called Lookout Point, right, fellas? Well, let's go down here and get a good lookout, because we are here with some people who have some first-hand knowledge of this wonderful floral flag that was planted here well over 50 years ago. And we'll start with this gentleman right here. Introduce yourself to everybody.
I'm Howard Bodger. I'm president of Bodger Seeds Limited, and we are the people who planted the flag.
Well, Mr. Bodger, this is probably one of the most historic spots in Lompoc. Tell us how the flag came to be planted.
Well, it was the idea of my cousin Charles, Chuck Bodger, who was the production chief at Lompoc at the time. And he wanted to make a patriotic gesture. We were producing larkspur for seed at the time, so he planted the flag in red, white, and blue larkspur.
Now, was it a big deal at the time when it was planted?
If I remember correctly, it was someplace around 18 acres, but then I'm not sure of that. Anyhow, it occupied most of that field that we're looking at right now.
Now, which field are you talking about? Because there's some beautiful fields out here.
Well, that straight ahead of you.
Right here.
Yeah, straight ahead of you is mostly green because that's beans this year. We have to rotate our crops, and that field is 26 acres, and most of it was occupied by the flag.
So this would have been the spot right here where all of those, Gene, bring in the prop for us. This is the famous photograph, and we've had it blown up, of the flag. And gentlemen, let's gather around and take a look at this. This is what we're looking at right there.
That's right.
As it was in
1942.
So people would have literally driven up to this point to get the snapshots of the floral flag.
Yes, this point was here at that time, and a lot of people went up to look at the flag.
Boy, it's absolutely beautiful. And when you look out, you can see some development that's taken place, but there are a lot of it looks pretty much the same.
Well, much of the farmland on the west side is in the reserve, which means that it's not to be developed. Mm-hmm. Lompoc is such a rich farming area that it would be a pity to pave over some of this good land.
Yeah. Now, in the name of historical accuracy, we have to be honest here, Howard. You've just corrected us. We are not standing where this picture was taken.
No, the picture was taken from a little knob to the north of where we're standing.
This little knob down here.
That's right.
Now, how would we get to that?
Walking from here down to that knob.
So that's what everybody did. They would come up to Lookout Point and then walk down to the knob.
Well, the photographer did, but I don't think anybody else did, because there's a lot of rattlesnakes around here.
Well, now that brings up another, in the name of historical accuracy, we've already seen two here today, haven't we? Right here.
Two of them, what, 4 or 5 feet away here.
That's another reason why we're not going down to the original point. We're just going to take your word for it that they shot from down there.
Well, you can really tell from looking at the picture how much there is in the foreground. It's got to have been from that little knob.
Now, there've always been flowers and there've always been rattlesnakes here, haven't there?
That's right. But back before World War II, we laid out in white stone, the diatomaceous earth that is mined in these hills, the name Bodger Seeds on this hill so everyone could see it from the valley. However, we had to quit doing that because the boys wouldn't go up and repair it because of the rattlesnakes.
So the rattlesnakes have always been here.
Right, they certainly have.
Howard, I heard another little version of that story. I heard that once some of the people from Bodger Seeds, which is also in the valley, came up and took the top out of your Bodger O's and G's and turned it into Reed Burpee. Is that correct?
You are correct. That's what happened. Well, my father, John C. Bodger, and David Burpee were mortal enemies, or at least competitors, and they were some of the most colorful people in the seed business. So there was a great rivalry in those days because Burpee was here in the valley at that time.
What is it about this valley that makes it so perfect for the kind of business that your family was in?
Well, if you look down there, you'll see a gap in the hills.
Right through here to the sea.
Right, okay. That is the only opening to the valley. It's the ocean. So we get nothing but an ocean breeze, which is cool. Also, we get a lot of breeze, and that rattles the plants and they pollinate and we get more seeds per plant.
And this used to be, you were telling me earlier, when we would look out here not that long ago, this used to be all flower fields.
Well, flower fields, bean fields, vegetable fields, and sugar beet fields. The town was way over there in the center, but most of the houses that you see out in this area here and way down at the far end, all the way across there and back out on the far side, at one time or another we would have planted flowers where those houses are, because you had to rotate them, and also depended upon what you were planting this year or next year, this flower can't be near this one because it'll cross-pollinate, so you'd have to put one over there and one down here, so that you would be spread out all over this valley and way up the valley also. And the town was just right in here, and if you've watched it grow, you realize underneath that house or underneath that shopping center, we used to plant sweet peas or calendulas or whatever.
When I moved here in 1946, there were 5,000 people in town. Now there are 40,000.
Yeah.
And Jim is right. Between the ocean and Highway 101, you can get any temperature and combination of sunshine you want. We catalog 600 kinds of flowers, so we tailor each one to the right microclimate.
So when they named this the Valley of the Flowers, that wasn't just some Chamber of Commerce promotion. They were speaking the truth.
If I remember right, Howard can correct me, it seems to me that in the 1940s and 50s, about 80–90% of the world's supply came out of this valley.
Yeah.
It doesn't now, but it did then.
Okay, we've come down from Lookout Point, and now we've come down to the actual field itself where the flag was planted.
Yeah. Those greenhouses over there was the end of the flag, the blue end, and then the stripes ran this way.
So this whole field right here would have been filled with the flag.
Pretty much, yes.
Now, Gene, we've got some props here.
Yes.
What have we got here? Howard, come over and explain to everybody what we've got here.
All right, you've got larkspur, which is a garden plant and also sold as a cut flower on the Los Angeles market. And you've got red, white, and blue. Actually, this is blue spire, this is carmine king, and that's white spire.
Now, would this have looked blue from a distance?
Oh, yes.
Because it looks almost purple in a way.
Well, in the flower business, when you say blue, you have a lot of latitude.
I got you.
You know.
But these would have been the exact colors.
Yes, that's right.
That they would have had back then.
The exact varieties we planted.
And the one we don't have here is the
calendula, which was the staff of the flag.
And why don't we have that today?
I really don't know.
Why don't we have that today?
I assume that it's not the season for it, or they're not growing them in the valley.
Yes, it's much earlier.
I got you.
It wouldn't be in flower.
Well, so we've done the best we can do. We got the red, white, and blue. We just don't have the gold that was the staff.
That's right.
And Gene, let's stand over here. This is what would have, fellas, come on, let's all hold these things. This would have all been the way it would have looked out in the field, right?
That's right.
Well, after visiting the historic field where the flower flag once grew, we were off for a quick driving tour of the valley, and we saw some amazing sights. I mean, this wasn't even the peak season, and look at these colors. Fields of marigolds and alyssum, and we even drove by a huge field where they were harvesting sweet peas. Then we visited Starbuck Ranch, and not only saw fields and fields of beautiful flowers, but got to ride on Rick Starbuck's little train he set up right next to the flowers. We were having a great time, but before long we looked at our watches and it was almost 5 o'clock. So we headed back into downtown Lompoc to see if they had completed the mural on time. Well, when we got there at 4:55, they were taking down the scaffolding, which was a good sign. Then the master artist put on the final touches, and at exactly 5 o'clock, the mural was completed. Time for the festivities to begin. Festivities which included some authentic World War II Jeeps, which they had a little difficulty getting into position. The local color guard was there, made up of veterans, along with a large, enthusiastic crowd. There were plaques to be handed out, speeches to be made. The loudest applause went to those who made the shortest speeches. Then all the artists signed their names on the bottom corner of the mural. And before we knew it, this wonderful mural day was over. When Mr. Bodger came up with this idea back in 1942, he really just did it as just a plain old patriotic gesture, didn't he?
Yeah, that's right. It was his idea, and he carried it through. And it was a patriotic gesture. He wasn't thinking about anything else at the time.
Well, he definitely was probably not thinking that 57 years later, it would be immortalized in a mural on the side of a building in Lompoc.
I'm sure he had no idea. But we're very glad that it came about that way. It's a tribute to Chuck Bodger and all the Bodger family. And we've been here since 1925, and Lompoc has been good to us.
Well, we started this adventure early in the morning. It was dark and kind of overcast. There was scaffolding up. The painting hadn't even begun to really take form. And here it is, late in the afternoon. The mural is finished. And as promised, it is colorful, it is full of history, and it is definitely a wonderful example of California's gold. There it is. Well, hello everybody, I'm Huell Hauser, and I sure hope you enjoyed this adventure. If you'd like to see it again or share it with your family or friends, or perhaps donate a copy to your local school or library, it's available on video cassette and on DVD. All you have to do is call 1-800-266-5727 and we'll be glad to send it to you right away.